Most killers are Most killers are caught because they rush, they panic, they make noise. This one didn't. For more than 15 years, he lived quietly among ordinary people. He married, he worked, he was trusted, and 3 women died beside him. The first death was called an accident, the second a tragedy. The third was supposed to be the same. But this time, something went wrong. Not because of DNA, not because of witnesses, not even because of a confession. He was exposed by a single sentence, a sentence no innocent person would ever say. This is not a story about violence. It's a story about patience, about how far someone can go when they understand the system better than the people inside it, and about the one mistake that ended everything. If you were to meet him on the street, you would not turn around to look again. There was nothing memorable about him. No sharp features, no unsettling stare, no visible anger. He blended into the background in a way that made people feel comfortable. And that, in hindsight, was his greatest advantage. In towns like Belridge, people believed they could recognize danger when they saw it. They believed evil arrived loudly, announced by chaos and warning signs. They did not expect it to arrive quietly, holding doors open and speaking softly. This is the story of a man who understood that belief and used it. Daniel Harper did not rush. He never needed to. Time for him was not pressure. It was a tool. His first wife, Emily Harper, was 29 years old when she died. She worked part-time at a local library and was known for her routines. Same coffee shop every morning, same route home, same bedtime. Predictability was comfort to her. To Daniel, it was information. The night Emily died, nothing seemed out of place. The house showed no signs of struggle, no overturned furniture, no broken objects. The staircase where she was found was narrow, steep, and poorly lit, exactly the kind of detail investigators later wrote off as unfortunate design. Daniel told police he was working late. He sounded tired, distraught but not panicked. He asked the right questions. He cried at the right moments. Most importantly, he never over-explained. The medical examiner ruled the death accidental, blunt force trauma consistent with a fall. No defensive injuries, no reason to suspect otherwise. But what no one noticed at the time was what wasn't there. There were no fingerprints on the railing, no smudges on the wall, no signs that Emily had reached out to protect herself. Those absences would not matter until years later. Daniel grieved publicly and briefly. Within months, he had sold the house. A year later, he remarried. Laura Harper was different, more assertive, more independent. Friends later described her as cautious, even skeptical. She had hesitated before marrying Daniel, asked questions, wanted explanations about Emily's death. Daniel answered calmly. He had practiced. Laura took medication for anxiety. Daniel made sure investigators knew that. When she was found dead in the bathtub, the narrative wrote itself. Medication, warm water, a tragic accident. Again, Daniel presented himself as the grieving husband. Again, there was no direct evidence to contradict him. But this time, something changed. A junior detective, newly assigned to the case, noted similarities between the 2 deaths. Not enough to reopen an investigation, but enough to file a memo. The memo went nowhere. Daniel moved shortly after Laura's funeral. He would later say he left to escape memories. In reality, he left to escape patterns. Years passed. By the time Sarah Miller met him, Daniel had refined his approach. He had learned what questions people asked and which ones they never did. Sarah believed she was marrying a man who had suffered. She did not know she was marrying a man who had studied suffering. Friends noticed subtle changes in her during the marriage. She canceled plans more often, spoke carefully about disagreements, mentioned that Daniel disliked surprises. No one recognized those as warning signs. The night Sarah died, Daniel's call to emergency services was calm enough to sound genuine. He used medical terms. He referenced CPR steps accurately. Too accurately. The responding paramedic later testified that Daniel corrected him on a procedure. That detail was overlooked until it wasn't. When the autopsy revealed the faint hemorrhaging around Sarah's neck, investigators faced a familiar problem. The evidence suggested intent, but not certainty. Without certainty, there would be no charges. And then came the interview. Daniel sat comfortably. He crossed his legs. He leaned back. He had done this before. When asked about timelines, he did not hesitate. He did not ask for clarification. He gave precision where none had been offered. When she died between 10:30 and 11, that sentence did not sound suspicious at first, but it lingered. Because innocent people do not guess accurately. They ask questions. From that moment on, the investigation expanded backward instead of forward. Emily's death was reopened. Laura's case was exhumed. New forensic methods revealed micro-trauma patterns that had been invisible years earlier. Each woman had marks in the same locations. Each injury suggested pressure applied carefully, not violently. Each death involved a controlled environment. Each occurred when Daniel was the only witness. Psychologists brought in to analyze Daniel's interviews noted something else. He never described the women emotionally. He described them structurally, where they were, what they were doing, and what time it was. Never who they were. At trial, the prosecution did not focus on brutality. They focused on repetition. 3 marriages, 3 isolated deaths, 3 nearly identical forensic signatures. The defense attempted to dismantle the timeline, suggesting coincidence amplified by hindsight. But the jury did not need emotion. They needed logic. The verdict came swiftly. Life imprisonment, no parole. For the families, it was closure, or as close to it as the system could offer. But years later, during a recorded interview inside the prison, Daniel said something unexpected. He was asked if he regretted anything. He thought for a long moment. "I regret changing my name," he said. "That's what made you look back." The journalist pressed him. "What about the women?" Daniel smiled faintly. "They were never the risk. People are predictable. Systems are predictable. Only curiosity isn't." And then he said something that never made it into any official report. If she had lived 10 more minutes, he referred to Sarah, none of this would exist. Because legally, he was right. The women were pronounced dead in hospitals, not on the scene. For Daniel, the crime was not murder, it was timing. Today, the towns involved appear unchanged. New families occupy old homes. Children walk past staircases and bathtubs without knowing their history. Officially, the case is closed. But investigators who worked it say something else lingered. A quiet realization that the most dangerous criminals are not those who act in rage, but those who understand patience. And that sometimes justice does not arrive because evidence is found, but because someone speaks one sentence too confidently.